I just wanted to share with you guys real quick. AI is a big tool that everybody should be using in a lot of aspects that they're doing. Um, it is a good foundation to start on. I wouldn't rely on it 100% solely. One thing that I've been doing has been using my ChatGPT consistently with a lot of the research that I do in TXC and other projects as well. Um, but I like one seeing that it's seeing what I'm seeing kind of thing. So I'll share my charts with it. I'll share info and data with it. And even if it's just kind of like me telling it versus me having it search for me, what I've noticed is the more that I've used it and the more that I've kept it up to date, the more accurate information that it's shared back with me. So something to maybe can kind of consider for somebody who's wanting to start venturing and maybe trying to do some of the charts or some of the research on stuff on their own. Use your chat GPT just to kind of, or whatever AI you want to use, um, and just kind of see if it sees what you're seeing as a confirmation. And the more you use it, the better it'll be, kind of thing. But this was kind of a cool one that I had. I sent the chart that we did the other day um, with it, and I said, let's break down the last 6 months of everything that's kind of been happening. And we are seeing that May to July, it's calling it phase one, the price range bound that we were in that, the volume was low consistently, but very slow in organic accumulation. The accumulation was more so because there was only buying, very, very little selling besides probably some bots or some early whales maybe dipping in or liquidity being injected. Um, Supply being thin means that small orders can cause rapid movements. Uh, a stealth accumulation, smart early buyers positioning while attention was low. The attention as low as part was cool because they were able to buy without causing erratic spikes, and thankfully there wasn't any kind of crazy buying in the beginning. Otherwise, this very much could have got into the category like a lot of meme coins that fail with that little early hype pump, erratic spike, and then drop. So late July, September, we're calling this phase two, is the $1.50 to $4 move. That volume jumped up into the 500 or the 50,000 to 200,000 a day, and it's accrediting this to social media engagement spiked. The Texas crypto native started getting a lot of traction, and then the liquidity improved across more exchanges getting more consistent volume. What we saw last night was Pi and X going from $500 to $1,000 a day to all of a sudden 13,000 or 20,000 was its 24-hour volume. 20,000 24-hour volume for Pi and X yesterday. Day before was 500. Massive improvement there. I know Pi and X has got a lot of bot action, so I'm sure that had a lot to do with that. So we see the liquidity improving. Buyers consistently absorb the dips. That 50 daily moving average started kind of establishing in that regards, because even though the coin was on DexTrade and others before, CoinMarketCap really didn't have any data established for it that early. Stop crying. We're still in that small cap, starting to dip into the mid tier with some real larger buyers coming in. And these are probably the buyers that came in that also were able to take profits at the $5 and cause that shakeup. The late September to early October, we saw the parabolic move, the huge $4 to $7.10 peak. Volume was consistently over 200,000 at that point, with those big days nearing 750,000. Little FOMO-driven rally. Buy, market panic, don't wait, gotta get in now. Volume, 400% of normal activity is a massive jump in volume, and you'll see that by these the green candle streaks indicated aggressive chasing, meaning that people were just buying, no selling, in bulk. So that caused a nice big run up. The liquidity pools expanded. There was, August and September were pretty good liquidity injections from TXC within. New exchanges also getting some of those Asia markets introduced to it, brought in outside money and liquidity into the pool, which is what is causing the market growth. We need outside money, not just within money. This part is not going to be accurate because we're following this off of CoinMarketCap, and because TXC has not been able to be verified fully on CoinMarketCap, it's still got plenty of good data, but because they're, I guess, filling in the gaps, you could say, with its data, they're using the wrapped Ethereum token, the WTXC. So that's why you see there's not nearly as many accounts. There's not many holders from that are reporting, and that's because DexTrade is not going to be a stat-driven exchange. They're kind of, I don't want to say independent, but they just aren't reporting the same as the other ones. Biconomy and Mexi are the biggest two. Bitmart is another one that's up there. And they all report, in CoinMarketCap gathers the stats from them, and it looks at the order books and stuff. But there's layer 2 data to the sales, any hidden orders that are placed. CoinMarketCap won't go looking for everybody's stats and looking for everybody's details to be so specific. A lot of these exchanges have to report to CoinMarketCap, and DexTrade just doesn't do it. So there's a lot of data that creates a verified market and accurate reporting as far as holders, wallets, active coins that are not being shown on CoinMarketCap. So they used the WTXC to fill in those gaps and be able to report those. So that's why we see different numbers than what the people who are mining actually know. And we saw some early holders start scaling out into the smaller fish sale. Now we're looking, ChatGPT calls it a controlled downtrend, and this is why I was never afraid of the sell-off, because it was exactly that. While it was dropping, it wasn't erratic. It was pretty steady, and it obviously looks very steep and scary for somebody where we were just like, wow, why are we not $5? Why are we not $7? Well, the thing that was happening was those early big investors who bought in that early adopter, this wave, this $1.50 to $4 range, and this 40 cent to $1.50 range, all these guys are 500% profit plus. And if they were to sit there and hold, then those top wallets and those top holders would have even had a larger percentage, going into it, which also is a stat line that CoinMarketCap tracks, is how, if your top 100 wallets, how many are in the top 10, how many are in the top 20, because they don't want to put their verified status and stamp of approval and saying, hey, this is a program that's going to be here permanently, long term, and it then all of a sudden could be a rug pull or a pump and dump kind of thing. So they're very hesitant and slow to give that stamp of approval. But the good thing is we had that sell off and redistribution. Luckily, there was plenty of new hype and new buyers that were coming in that saw that $7 run up and saw the transparency from the top people, and Rangers were very excited. The community is very, very driven and backs this program, both beyond the nearsightedness of the $16 or the path to 16. There is long-sighted backers in this program. And that excitement is why we were able to scoop up this, $7 to $3. That distribution of those accounts that had millions of coins now being spread out to people who are, have only been mining since August or even September, and they're like, well, shoot, I'm only getting a coin a day or half a coin a day. I'm not going to have a large enough wallet if this thing's genuinely going to go up to 16, that it's kind of shown that it's very much on pace to do. I got to buy, and that excitement is where all those bigger accounts kind of distributed the coins out, because there's other cryptos out there, like XRP, that are all the coins are out. We have 100 million coins. They're all out there. Boom, everybody have them. So they're available and in circulation. That market's established and proven. The way that a mining project works, where the coins are started from zero and then they're distributed in the cold wallets. Well, those cold wallets are just numbers on a screen until somebody puts them into the live market to establish a value, and that's what has had to been encouraged through these liquidity levels and benchmarks that we're hitting. And so the more coins that are into the market, the better we're doing, and that they're circulating. We want some turnover because we got to get from the top to the bottom so we have a foundation, and some strong footing. So we saw the lower highs forming. The descending wedge is that shape where we had that gap, wedges and triangles and pennants and flags. Those are patterns that you're going to see in the stock world. We're calling this outer yellow, and then this long trend purple is the wedge that we're talking about. And so descending is because the top one, obviously going down, descending. Let's see, where were we at? Oh, I think I went too far. I started putting, I don't know if you guys are all in the Telegram group for TXC, but buyers declined at 5, and then support was built at 390. Now, ultimately, this showed support all the way down at 3 yesterday, when we really ran back up through the 3s strongly. But I was tracking some data on the month to month that we saw in mid October. We were doing the 296 a day, $296,000 a day, $4 price average coins traded 74,000. November, that jumped up. We saw, I think it was like jumped up to 84,000 coins a day. I don't remember the exact price. The price was down a little bit, and the coins traded, though, did go up. So we did see from 10/10 to 10/14, and then you go a month later, November 10th through November 14th. Nice solid increase from 74,000 coins a day to 84,000 coins a day. 12% move or so. Oh, maybe that's where here is. Oh, look at me go. 14%. Math. Okay, so then in phase 5, we had the rising volume. This is the most important part to this market establishing itself and developing into a strong foundation to build beyond the $5 and $10 and $15 milestones that are going to be very difficult, because they're going to encourage a lot of profit taking. And the stronger this foundation is, the better we'll be through that. And that's what we're talking about, this big sharp. I just spoke on that. Here are the numbers. 320 was an 8% increase in dollar volume versus the October period. Price was down 4%, and then that's where we saw a 14% increase of coins traded, which took that out. So what we saw, higher volume. More coins were trading hands, coming out of the whale wallets into the fish wallets, we'll call them. Slightly lower price. This is accumulation by stronger hands. The early whales were already at a profit point. So as the price was going up, any moment was going to be a wave of sales. So now that we hit that wave of sales and we've came back into this $3 zone where we now have new buyers, now that profit point is extended. So if you think that those guys took a 500 to 700% profit, what's 500 to 700% profit from the $3 range that we're at now? Or maybe even harder. These guys might look at bigger profit because the project's going to be bigger. But short-term holders exited, long-term buyers absorbed that liquidity at cheaper levels. Great for the long-term trend. Current structure, this mid-November tier that we're in, we were down to 310, 340. The descending wedge was nearing the end. This was a bullish pattern the whole time. The hard support that we hit at that 299, 310 triggered the reversal yesterday, where we are now in a much stronger move. Secondary support was at 250, if unlikely to hit unless the market tanks. It was possible, but not likely, and I don't think we're going to get there still. Volume picked up, though. We were still in the $400,000 a day range. In that, I think it was more like 370 to 400, depending on which day. Multi-week correction, prices compressing for the next leg up. Volume was strong throughout, which was good. Support is holding. I know that the price didn't look like support was holding, but it was. Volume was consistent enough. Look at that. We did go to $4 yesterday. Right after the final $2.99 dip. I actually had this ChatGPT conversation, I think 2 days ago. So, good job, ChatGPT. Bullish outcomes for December. We are looking promising going forward. The 6-month summary of everything that we've had. Through the summer, TXC ran 1,400%. Healthy pullback after a parabolic top. Any kind of parabolic move is always going to cause a little bit of a sharp pullback, and that's good because we need the consolidation after. Think of markets as stairways up, elevators down. Then you take the stairs up to the next level. Bullish reversal, strong liquidity. That was coming in. Coin turnover at all-time high. This is the best. We were down 30,000 to 60,000 for most of the summer coins a day. Now we're consistently in the 75, 85, a couple 90,000. Day like yesterday, we actually were over 100,000 coins traded hands. Huge. Don't panic, it was not dying. Resetting before the next expansion cycle. So we are in this zone right now, 360 to 380. Could be a rejection, could be a retest if it doesn't break over this 380. Or we could see a major breakout above the wedge. The major breakout would likely go to this $4.80 or $5 range and then come back into this zone. We're just looking for a volume surge. As good of a move as yesterday was, it really wasn't a surge. We really only increased volume. Dollar-wise, volume increased because the price increased. A lot of that, but we were just around 100,000 coins, 105,000 coins. So it wasn't like abnormally large. It wasn't one single buy or something crazy. But look at that, back into the $556 target zone. And you could look at. Obviously, I could have asked more questions if I wanted to, but let's go back and look. What are we at price-wise? 1 hour. Let's look just real quick. See where we're at. Building out this little shelf, and we're wanting to build a little breakout. If we look over here, we can see that this 380 price is going to be kind of a little bit of a resistance, and we know that also there's a lot of liquidity at this level because it's where the liquidity injection was for October. So we know that there's a lot of people that bought in here, and so there's a lot of money here that will cause some consolidation here. Totally healthy. The move up will be strong though from this level. So that's where it'd be nice to see this area where all these tall wicks were. This area get tested next. Just got to get over this $4 hump, which we already tested. If you come over here and look at by economy, and we look at the market depth on it real quick, there are a lot of orders for sale. And I think that's a lot of these whales who are wanting to capture their profits. They saw the rejection at 5, and then we saw the sell off. That sell off kind of created the algos for all the bots that are active in there, whether people pay for the bots and do it themselves. The exchanges are using the bots to balance the order book, or just the price looks bad. People are going to put sell orders in, and a lot of these sells are stacked orders. These big walls. It's probably realistically this hump to get over, and then these guys are going to be like, hold on a minute, why am I selling when it's on the way up? So you'll see these orders probably get canceled, but this green hump really needs to get up to this hump, and this is Biconomy's market depth, and Biconomy, as we can see on the volume, is the fourth highest volume by dollars. It's growing. It's US friendly. I just started messing with it and looking at it. Can't draw any lines on it yet. At least I haven't figured out how to. But as far as ordering and looking at some of the stats, it's got some built-in indicators already. You can edit them or change them a little bit if you want. But it's got the MACD. Let's see if we change this to original. Got my moving averages. I could set as many as I want. I only have 3. Is what it defaults at, to see those. And then even on the volume, it shows moving averages, just so you can kind of see a trend on it. That's a little excessive. I normally never have those, but they're not a bad number to track too, especially as we see surges like this. It's really nice to see more what is our average. Then you can go into a trading view, which simplifies it if you're trying to look for certain prices and such that you're trying to get exactly at, and avoid all of the indicators. But I really like Biconomy. I also like PineX. I started a little bot. I was able to send a little bit of USDT out of DexTrade, and I started. How do I go see my bot? I'm still kind of learning a little bit. Some built-in strategies. Maybe it's not going to show my bot. I could open it up really easy on that app. Oh, trading bot right here. This is my active one. I threw $40.44 on it last night at like midnight, overnight, and it's down 11 cents. I think that was mostly just from the fees of it initiating. It hasn't really filled any orders yet because PineX has got very, very low volume. I know we saw a big surge. That was bot to bot. Any of those bot to bot big massive surges are washed out. They end up, the exchange basically clears out the money, and you don't have to, don't count it in your thing, and don't be like, oh my God, somebody sold it $60. No need to say that or panic like that, because as soon as somebody would have really placed an active order or tried to get something to fill, that bid-ask spread would have collapsed into the price zone, and you would not have sold. It would have not actually bought at 50 unless it was from the same bot to itself. So looking at getting Biconomy a little bit bigger, U.S. friendly, makes sense to have the U.S. friendly exchanges working and active for the U.S. based crypto. Bitmart and XC are nice to see that they have the good volumes. Those are the largest of the exchanges that we're on as far as the direct aggregate reporting to CoinMarketCap to get verified. They are considered level 2, but still they report all the data that is needed to get verified status. And then once you get verified status, that's when you open up the big exchanges, the Kraken and the Coinbases and all these ones that are top tier on the exchange list. If you want to be on those, you have to be verified. So if we can get this volume to stay consistency, we get the smaller exchanges. These two, I think, would be nice to get up, but definitely we need to maintain this. This was nice to see yesterday that Bitmart got way up, because Dextrade has been all the volume predominantly. And that's okay. That's where the most users are. That's where the most orders are filling. It's the one that everybody was in. So it's kind of, it sucks to have to eat the fees to transfer out, especially when you're already established. You already know how to use Dextrade. You've messed with it. The orders are easy to place, and you have your money there. And it sucks to have to restart and relearn a new program. But for the growth of the project, Bitmart, Mexi, Biconomy, Pi, and X are kind of the four that need to grow to create that. And I think Pi and X is a really cool one. I've looking with it and trading on it, between doing the bot or doing the market yourself. I actually am gonna probably do a little challenge for myself and to kind of test the efficiency. I'm waiting for the money to clear into it, but I'm gonna start with $300. I'm gonna put $100 on one of these AI strategies for 30 days. I'm gonna do a custom bot where I put my parameters and my price ranges and some of the little features that I want to specifically watch. Not going to be much different probably than the AI strategy, but it'll be considered mine. And then I also am going to have $100 and actively come in here and try to make a trade or two a day, maybe three, depending on the day and the activity level. Or I'll just set the orders and let them do their thing. But I'll see if whose $100 account essentially grows the most out of that, and so I'll probably be posting those and kind of seeing how that goes. But I just wanted to share you guys the ChatGPT. It is a useful tool. It's nice to see when AI kind of recognizes the project and sees some things and that you might miss, because I mean AI is scanning at a level that the human brain just can't, kind of thing. This was a fun one I did too. This was back when the price was there. Based on this chart, TXC has low volume, current trading patterns. Let's develop a strategy to make 5 to 10% a day, and just try to make $250. There's strategies that you can kind of tink with and mess with that are conservative like that, but get active, and you are capable of making decent money. Once you just start with 2,500 to 5,000, 250 a day, 8 hours a day, $30 an hour is only $240 a day. Imagine if you were able to do that, once a day from your computer while you're drinking your coffee, and you don't have to go to work anymore. So just a cool tool. Wanted everybody to kind of see that I've been actively doing it. I definitely don't just jump in and on your first search, hey, check out TXC and tell me, because it has to scan multiple times. You have to correct it a couple times because it's gonna go into the Reddits and it's gonna go into some of the stuff. And there is some misinformation out there from the naysayers. And this is that breakout point kind of for the project, where the price went down. That's a negative light, and it's very easy for the naysayers and the bashers to come out and bash when things are negative. So kind of block those guys out. If you're still a believer and you're still optimistic and you still, you see the value, don't let somebody who doesn't see the value take away your value, kind of thing. So just wanted to share that. If anybody wants a specific video, please reach out and let me know. I do enjoy making these. These are fun. And I'm going to try to make them every day. So I will see you tomorrow.